So they will gather you into this very large grove. So there's a part. The rainforest is the natural beauty of the rainforest is gorgeous, and I'm gonna say that they take you to this part of the school. There's like a central square in the school, and there are trees, beautiful trees with beautiful plants. And I'm gonna say that there are parrot-like looking avian creatures. They're not muggle parrots, but they're parrot-like of really beautiful colors that are hanging out on the trees, watching this whole spectacle. And the students are all gathered here, so whenever there's announcements that are being made, you can assume this is the place where all the students all gather. And the students seem to be set up, the ones who are not first years are already set up by house around this area. And before you enters in, as everyone hushes and silent, it gets and grows quiet, an individual who you can presume to be the head mistress of this school. To your surprise, the figure that appears as the headmistress is this.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
I like it.
wow.
She speaks in a very authoritative, strong voice. This person who you do recognize to be a female centaur. And she says, "Good morning, students. Welcome to another year here at Costello Brochu. For those of you who are here for the very first time, my name is Headmistress Wilhelmina. Welcome on behalf of all of the staff here to Costello Brochu. There are many things and many announcements that we are going to be making for this school year, but first things first, I would like to turn everyone's attention to our first years." And here is Levi towering over all these 11-year-olds.
Yeah, he's towering over most people in the school at like 6'3", so yeah.
As you can see, she says, this year we do have some foreign exchange students who will be joining us for the first time.
Levi starts waving, like, to everybody.
You start waving and none of the students like really react all that much. The other 11-year-olds are still like really nervous to like even pay attention to much of you. Although one is like looking up at your towering self, and she definitely feels a little intimidated and sort of like walks away, steps away from you. This little red-headed girl of some sort. So, Headmistress Wilhelmina will say, "We will begin by explaining to all of you the houses of this school. And each of the heads of the houses, the professors who are heads of the houses, will be explaining to the students the houses of the school. So, starting with House Diamante. So one of the professors, I'm not going to describe them, I'm just going to say one of the generic professors comes up and says, Diamante, the people placed in here have an unbreakable will. Once they put their minds to something, they will not stop until it is done. They work hard and have protective personalities. Most likely the smartest students will go to this school." And above him, there is a banner emblazoned with the mascot, which is the Kurapira, I think is how you pronounce it, which is a dwarf man with red-orange hair with his feet facing backwards.
After he was done describing like what that house is, he looks like a kid and like, I bet I'm going to that house right there. They said the smartest, right?
One of the 11-year-olds kind of gives you a very uncomfortable kind of laugh and tries to look you to pay attention. The professor who's talking about Orpal has a mascot of a Yara, which is a beautiful black-haired mermaid. And the professor says, Orpal is where creativity is deeply valued. This is where many artists and musicians go to hone their craft. Those who are not afraid to push the boundaries, to express themselves. You will find your home here in House Orpal. Then, the next person who presents is actually the teacher, Professor Heloisa Eduarda, that you had interacted with. And above her is this banner emblazed with the picture of the Mula Swamkabeka, I think is how it's pronounced. And she will say, Quartzo. House Quartzo can be stubborn at sometimes, unwilling to bend their thoughts or way of thinking. But we tend to be the strongest and most fearless of the houses, always willing to push ourselves and our boundaries. We don't always care what people think about them because we are proud of who we are.
After she says that, he'll go to the same kid. He's like, never mind, that's me, that one's me.
Some of the students go, shh, I am trying to hear.
Sorry.
The last person who steps up is this woman who is dressed very extravagantly, darker skin, and she has this very interesting poise about her, and she smiles looking around at all of the people glinting, and she says, the House Rosa. House Rosa is the house that tends to be the most socially outgoing. They show bravery and show that they can be vocal leaders. They can be vain when it comes to their looks, but most likely to lend helping hands to other people. And emblazoned above her is the mascot, which is the Boto Cor de Rosa, which is a pink dolphin that comes from the Amazon and transforms into a man dressed all in white. And after the professors step off, I'm going to let Levi roll a knowledge history.
Critical success. Nice.
Wow.
So this
First one, guys. First one.
the person who last spoke is Professor Ana Silva. She is the divination teacher at this school, who joined the school relatively recently. There's something very mysterious about Professor Ana Silva that you can't quite put your finger on, but somehow you feel drawn to her for some reason. So that's the only information that I can really give you for right now.
Okay.
The headmistress Wilhelmina approaches again, and the students hush everyone, and says, each house was founded by one wizard and 3 witches looking to make a school large enough for the South American students. But they believed that everyone had a right to an education, since they saw the muggles of the area did not always get that luxury. So they made sure to have an easy transfer process, making it simple for Europeans to get in without much hassle. Each of them made the house using the gemstone they had at the end of their wands to represent their houses. They also used Brazilian folklore for their mascots. The founders also knew that they wanted kids with their same personalities in their houses, but agreed that they should all be together the first 2 years so they could possibly pick up the best traits from each house. I would like to now ask everyone who are 3rd years to please step forward. And she then says, and for our transfer students who are starting their school year third years and above, which does include Levi, if you could also step forward too. So the first years will step back, allowing the third years to step forward, because for the first 2 years, the students are actually together, all together for the first 2 years, which is very unique. And then it's not until the third year that you actually get assigned and sorted to a house. There is a sorting festival that appears that's happening in this square right now. And the students will be presented by Professor Ana Silva. The bag, which I think is pronounced the Escolhendo Osako, or the choosing bag.
Oh.
And all of the students will one by one reach into the bag to pull out a clear looking stone. So everyone lines up one by one, grabs something from the bag. I don't know if Levi does anything in particular when he reaches into the bag to pull out a stone.
Levi would just reach in, pull it out, and be like, "Hey guys, I think I got like the biggest one or something."
I'm gonna say that you catch a small giggle coming from Professor Ana Silva. Small giggle when you say that. She does seem kind of amused. She seems to like you a little bit.
All right.
And so during the festival, there's food, there's music, there's fireworks. All of the students are starting to like mingle. The first years are being like, acquainted. There's sort of like, there's like a buddy system that they're sort of giving each other. And then they say that after about 30 minutes into the festival, the clear rocks that you get will begin to take shape into the gems of the new houses that you're supposed to be sorted in. So diamond for diamante, quartz for quartzo, rose quartz for rosa, and opal for opal. So we're gonna say that you're just what do you foresee yourself trying to do during this festival, during the first 30 minutes, Levi?
I foresee him just like shaking the rock, trying to get it to change faster. And then every time he looks over, he's like, "Hey, you're totally like Orpal. Me and you like Orpal, yeah."
It's going to be at this point that the Professor Ana Silva will actually approach you. And she might have a plate of some sort of vegetable platter of some sort in her hands. And she says, "I hear that you are our transfer student from London?"
Oh, yeah. I'm transferring here from. I was actually homeschooled this whole time, so
Yes, I see.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. You can't even really do magic outside of school, so like just learning the spells is kind of rough,
We're very happy to have you here. I'm sure that the students will have a lot to learn from you. And hopefully you might learn a thing or two while you're here as well.
You're definitely right. They have a lot to learn from me.
She says, Levi Lionheart. Levi Lionheart. What does that name mean to you?
It means my name to me. That's how people call. You can call me YT if you want. Some people call me that, but whatever.
Is that all that is to you then? That all it is just what people call to you. You don't feel anything else from such a name?
You see him like kind of get more serious than he's been for a little bit. He's like, well, like the Lionheart name does mean something. Maybe not necessarily here or anything, but back in.
What does it mean to you?
No, I don't think I've ever really thought about it. I think it does mean like courage, bravery, honesty, all the stuff that like my father does,
Are those the things that you value?
I would say yeah.
What are the things that you wish you had that you valued? Or are they one and the same? I
think it's all kind of the same, yeah. I feel like, I try my best. Everybody tries their best. Sometimes things don't just work out.
What is it that you hope to find here at Costello Brochu, Levi Lionheart?
Well, number one, gonna find myself a girlfriend. Gonna, do that. Number two, I'm gonna be like the captain of like the Quidditch team or something. That'd be kind of cool. Number three, maybe learn a few spells here or there. I try. I go to class, whatever. Do your thing. Number four, I want to find another number 4 thing to learn. That'd be kind of cool.
She'll smile and says, I admire your ambition. These are all very good and very valid things to want out of your experience here. I hope very much, Levi Lionheart, that what you find here is exactly what you want.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. So is there like a Mr. Silva?
She says, Mr. Silva. Nobody's asked me about a Mr. Silva. I'm afraid no. I am, how you would call it, I tend to be a bit of a loner about those kinds of things.
Oh, okay, that's... Well, sometimes people don't want to be alone forever. So, hopefully you find exactly what you're looking for. And, maybe this person has already walked into your life. Maybe, who knows?
Roll a flirt roll, please. Take your penalties.
Imagine if he critically Levi succeeds.
Please. It's gonna happen eventually, right?
There's gonna be some alarming implications.
About Professor? How old is this professor approximately?
I would say she's probably in her, I would say mid.
Oh, no Lord. Way!
I did not do very well.
Yeah.
She's gonna smack you, dude.
I would say that she's in her like mid 40s, late 30s to mid 40s. Late 30s, mid 40s.
1 point away from critical failure.
Levi
I
is
got
about to get
-1.
When you sort of say that, she kind of frowns a little bit, and then she says, "Now, Mr. Lionheart, I think that's a bit inappropriate, don't you think?"
Oh no! I'm just saying, like, there's guy teachers here and stuff, and maybe you're into girls. There's a horse lady over there. Maybe you're into that. I don't know.
Just a word of advice, Mr. Lionheart. It would suit you well to not refer to the headmistress as horse lady.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. Pony lady?
We'll work on that, Mr. Lionheart, she says as she sort of like gives you a... She's not physically patting you, but sort of like giving it, we'll work on that. And as soon as that happens, you're going to see some of the kids, some of the third years are reacting and gasping as they pulled out their clear stones, and you see a few kids who are saying, seeing that their stones have now changed into diamonds and quartz and rose quartz and opals.
I was gonna say, once he starts seeing that, he'll look at his.
You look at yours, and yours hasn't changed yet. And the things start to progress over the next 10-15 minutes. All of the other kids are like, I'm in Orpal, I'm in Diamante, and again, kid after kid after kid after kid theirs is changing, and yours doesn't seem to be reacting in any way.
See this, guys? I'm so special. I'm gonna get my own house. They're gonna name it after me, and the mascot's gonna be a white lion. It's a clear stone.
Finally, the festival is over, and the headmistress will come up and say, all right, students, wonderful. Well, I'm sure everyone's very excited to see the houses that they've been sorted to. So if all of the students could please go ahead and join your houses. Heads of the houses, take your students and introduce them to their new houses. And again, welcome, students, to the wonderful and a successful new year. And there's a big applaud and everybody's cheers as all the students starts going off every which way to their respected houses.
Yay!
And mine is still clear.
Yours is still clear.
He'll look for Professor Edrada, if she's anywhere by.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, he'll find her and be like, hey, crazy thing just happened, I'm sure this happens all the time, mix-ups everywhere. You gave me a broken stone, and it didn't change, and I was wondering if maybe I can, maybe grab a newer one.
Broken stone? Impossible. Let me see that.
He'll hand it to her.
She takes a look at it. Seems fine to me. Well,
I held it the whole time. It didn't change. I don't know.
this isn't a good sign, Mr. Lionheart. This happens on very, very rare occasions. Are you sure? If you don't mind me putting it bluntly, are you sure this place is a good fit for you?
To be honest with you, it wasn't my first choice, but I'm here now. It's the only one that would kind of accept me so late into my schooling. So, it's kind of like my last option type situation, if you know what I'm saying.
What seems to be the problem? Professor Ana Silva says as she approaches you again.
They gave me a broken rock, and now I don't have a house, so I'm just trying to figure that out,
With this, Ana Silva takes up the lock and she looks at it, and she says, Mr. Lionheart, why don't we make a deal with you? I will have to talk to the headmistress first for permission, but since it doesn't seem like the stone has decided where you belong, would you be open to joining my house in the interim?
He gets excited, oh yeah, I'll literally join any house right now.
Professor Luisa Eduarda says, Anna, I don't think that's really part of the rules. Oh, yes, well, I guess it is up to Headmistress Wilhelmina to decide, but I think that exceptions can be made. At that point, Luisa Eduarda, she just kind of backs off and says, all right, okay, I'm not gonna get myself involved with this. So
I'm like a house of Orpal. Which one were we again? I don't even remember.
Oh, I'm head of House Rosa.
Ah, that's right. That's the good one. That's the one I was meant for.
Hold on to this in the meantime. I would not give up on it yet. Just hold on to it.
Okay, so he'll take it and he'll put it in his pocket.
And she says, come, Mr. Lionheart, let me introduce you to the rest of House Rosa.
Okay, so he starts following you for 2 seconds. He turns around to Miss Edrada and it's like, hey, just quick crazy question. Is there a Mr. and Mrs. Edrada?
I'm not even going to let you roll for that. And Luisa Eduarda says,
Oh man.
5 points from Rosa.
Well, they don't.
Anna sort of she kind of shakes her head and says, oh, that's not going to help you make friends any faster, Mr. Lionheart.
He'll just follow her and be like, I was just asking a question. I don't know. I'm just being friendly.
Just be glad it was only 5. The last student who spoke said things to Professor Eduarda they shouldn't have, got way more than they bargained for.
Hey, that must mean she kind of likes me, yeah?
Oh god.
We'll see, Ana Silva says as she takes you off.
Quit while you're ahead, bro.
I can't do it. This train never stops.
Come on, you have
It
to.
really has no brakes. It's amazing.
Gonna be a train wreck.
Clef, you're up.
Oh, that was nerve-wracking.
Juan, you are flying behind your uncle Eduardo, because you are taking his broom all the way to Africa. Now, it is a several hours travel across the ocean. So it's not going to be... It's going to be faster than taking a plane. There are pit stops. So wizards who do travel by broom across the ocean, they have like rest stops and pit stops for people to stop at, like in the middle. So it's easier.
Cool.
Yeah, so they have, and some of them are places you can actually check in and spend the night. And there's like food and things like that, so you can like stretch your legs, go to the bathroom. So if you've ever gone on like road trips, it's similar to those stops.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking about that.
We're gonna say that like you take a pit stop somewhere and you might grab some snacks. And there's other wizards and witches here too who are traveling. There are other wizards who seem like students as well, who are also doing some traveling. And Eduardo will say, "So Juan, you excited for your first day at school?"
I don't know, Uncle. I mean, I didn't really want to leave home, but just imagining the transfiguration class is making me excited.
Oh, don't be nervous. They're going to love you. You'll have to give them the old De La Rivera charm. You know that you got from your uncle Eduardo.
Of course, Uncle. Who else?
What made you decide ultimately to go to Wagga after you got your Ilvermorny invitation?
Well, I just, my mom was really excited about the invitation, and I mean, it may be good, being far from home. I mean, that's not good. I already miss my little brothers, but I mean, that's the way things are, right? And come on, Uncle, they have those incredible transfiguration classes. Kids like 2 years older than me can already transform into panthers and lions, and that's incredible. And he starts like pulling on his shirt a little bit. He's really excited when talking about transfiguration and all the possibilities.
Eduardo will he'll turn towards you. He'll place a hand on your shoulder, and he's a little taller than you, so he kneels down to your level a little bit, and then he says, "Juan, you are a De La Rivera, and De La Riveras, they don't shy away from new challenges. We work hard, we're proud, and we do everything for our family. But for once, I want you to do things for yourself too. You shouldn't forget about your hopes and your dreams, and you should just see this as a wonderful opportunity."
While he hears this, Juan is gonna have like a shy smile. Like you can notice that he really loves his uncle, and he's like, "Yeah, you may be right."
I will be there watching you during your sorting, cheering you on, because they said that parents are allowed to do that, and I know you will make us very proud.
Thank you, Uncle. I'm so glad that you came.
He says, "Are things with your father okay?"
Ivan. Yeah, everything's okay. Just, we clash a little, but everything's fine. I'm trying to not make him angry. Just live every day.
I know how he is sometimes, and I know it can be very challenging, but at the end of the day, he is your stepfather, so you do have to give him the respect for that.
Yeah, I know. he at least deserves that, right?
He will give you a smile and nod and say, "Come, why don't I get you a snack and a drink? What would you like?"
Ooh, a chocolate. A chocolate. Please, 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 please.
They might have some chocolate frogs. Would you like some of that?
Oh, yeah. Let's just remember, give me a hand if it goes hopping.
So you will go get some snacks and then finish the rest of your journey to Wagga. Now, Wagga is a stunning edifice carved out of the mountainside, shrouded in mist, so that it's sometimes simply to float in midair. When you arrive at the main gates of Wagga, you see that several of the students are lining up before the gates and going up to a door that goes into the main entranceway of the school. And all of the students are carrying with them the stone totems in their hands. And there's a receptacle in the door that they can place their totems in. And you see each student putting a totem into the receptacle. It glows, and then the doors open, inviting the students in. So you will all line up, and Eduardo and Juan will reach the door as well. One of the staff members will greet you and will say, "Right this way, just place your totem in to the receptacle."
Before, when Juan sees all of this, he has like this face of amazement, and he really loves this. When he sees that much people, he likes shy away a little, but then straight away and like, yeah, I can do this, no problem. And he's like, he goes with the attendant, the helper. And where do I put the stone again? Sorry?
Right through there, she says, and she'll point.
Thank you. And he puts the stone like, yeah.
You put the stone in, it starts to glow, and then the doors open. You can take your stone back.
Wow.
And the cold air just wafts in as you go in, and the smell it's like there's a little bit of incense in the air, and you can hear the beating of drums. It's almost like traditional tribal drum music, and there are hundreds of students. So again, this is the largest of all of the wizarding schools, and there's students all over the place wearing their orange robes. It's like a sunrise. You walked into a sunrise, basically, and then everyone will be ushered, gathered into this one room. The headmistress greets everyone and says, "Good afternoon. I am Headmistress Vinza Mwamba, Headmistress of Wagga. We are proud to be the oldest and largest wizarding school in the world. Our homeland of Africa is made up of numerous countries and tribes, dozens and dozens of very diverse cultures, rich, vibrant cultures. As such, there are 6 houses in Wagga, the most of any other school. Each one of them is represented by a different biome. And again, just like in Costello Brochu, the head professors of each of the houses will explain to you the differences. So, the first the first professor steps up, and there is the ground around the professor changes to show I would say within a circumference of 3 feet, 2 meters circumference or 3 meters circumference, the ground around them changes and transforms into a desert.
So cool.
Baria, the desert. This is the house of the survivors, the ones that will keep going, that find solutions to any unsolvable problems, those that follow their heart and let the warmth guide them in their lives will journey in the desert. The next professor steps up, and the ground around them, trees sprout up. The forest, Uxolo. This is the house of the peaceful, those that love nature, the ones that want to keep the world pure and perfect, with a kind heart, but at the same time with the strength for fighting for it, that stand true to their actions and wish no harm that can be prevented, will rest in the forest. The next professor, and around them, the ground turns viscousy and bog-like, and the professor says, Engaziwa, the swamp. This is the house of the mysterious, those who keep secrets, that strive to know in order to succeed in the world, to the ones that can see through the lies and use any opportunity to get advantage, will hide in the swamp. The next person goes up, and as the ground around them changes, you feel a slight chill in the air, and the ground is filled with powdery white snow. Ikwa, the Arctic. This is the house of the determined, those whose hearts are as hard as ice, that know what they want and would do anything to achieve it, that can withstand the coldest of lives, will chill in the Arctic.
When they say that, Juan just like giggles, like, sorry.
This next teacher will appear, and this teacher looks like this. And this woman says, as the ground around her transforms into water, and then rises up, the water like just rises up, and then you can see like coral reefs and fish and other things coming around, and she has a bubble head charm when this happens, so all this water around her, lots of activity, lots of life. And the professor says, Umkombe, the reef. This is the house of the flexibles, those who love the pleasures of life, that don't accept the world as just what it looks like, the creative souls that won't get trapped by the chains of society, will dive into the reef. And then, last but not least, the very last professor is going to be this one. The interesting thing about this professor is that besides him being a snazzy dresser, his eyes are completely white, and you can hear some of the whispers behind you say, "That's Professor Zuberi. He's blind." "Yes, I know, but he's a very strong empath." And Professor go ahead.
He just like goes around like hearing it, and he's like, blind? Just like amazed.
Professor Zuveri will say in a gentle voice, "The savannah, Shaksa. This is the house of the leaders, those that represent the Alpha, that have a strong will to lead, that care about their brothers and sisters, and would protect them at any cost. They belong in the savannah," he says with a bow. And many of the girls are like going, "Ah." Professor Zuberi has a lot of fans, especially from the female crowd and some boys. And
yeah, I can see why. Oh my god.
And with that, the professor will say, "In order to be sorted at your houses, You will all be given a trial, and that will determine which heads of the houses are interested and see you as a good fit, and you may choose from those who select you which house you ultimately would like to land in. Let the challenge begin.
No, just that leaves Juan like with a face of anguish. He's like really excited, but like really scared. Like, yeah, that's it.
We'll end the scene there.
Oh boy.
Albion.
Oh boy,
Oh boy.
Plant boy. It's time for plant boy.
Planty boy.
So Al, you are waiting outside of your school. You are still age 7. This is the fall. And your mother is waiting outside patiently. And soon she'll say, "There." And you see a flock flying towards your direction to the front of your house. And as they get closer and closer, you recognize them to be these massive giant birds known to the wizarding world as storm petrels. And you know that you're going to be riding these storm petrels to your first day of school. And how does Al, little 7-year-old Al, react to these birds as they approach your house?
I think he'd be a little wary at first. Does he know if he's going alone at this point or not?
Yeah, you would be going. Your mother wouldn't be able to go with you. You would have to go by yourself. This is a rite of passage for all 7-year-old wizards.
So I think he'd probably be like twiddling with something a little nervously. But he does his best to kind of put a brave face forward. He's not gonna let her outwardly know he's worried about it, but he might be like trying to talk about something to keep off the subject of what's about to happen.
So, your mother will turns towards you. She'll kneel down on one knee to get to your level, and she says, "Don't be scared, Albukun. Remember, when the storm petrel lands and stands before you, show it the respect, and then present with it your offering." And she will hand you what looks to be, I guess the best way to describe it is a leafy ball. I don't know if you recognize in Christmas time they sort of like hang. It's like mistletoe. They like hang these balls, these balled wreaths. Mm-hmm. Wreaths in the form of a ball is what I call it. But it doesn't look like that. It's sort of like some sort of plant-like ball of some sort that she gave you specifically to give as a offering to the storm petrel.
Okay. Would the event with the flu have already happened at this point, I assume?
If you think it would have happened, would it have happened before he started school proper, would you say?
I would assume just because it was with his mom and there's not many years. Yeah. So
we'll say that happened, yeah.
I think he would probably at this point ask her like, nothing's gonna happen like with the flu network, is it?
She said, "No, nothing like that's going to happen. You just need to pay your respect to the beast, and they will get you to the school safely."
And then I get to come back here at the end of the day?
Yes. You are welcome to come back here at the end of the day.
Okay. And he takes the wreath or whatever you call it, the offering.
I was gonna say this large bird lands gracefully on the front lawn of your house, and it will wait patiently for you. Your mother has told you that to pay your respect, again, you should bow and let the beast approach you after you bow.
So he would take a step or two and maybe look back over his shoulder just for some reassurance, and I assume he'd see his mother kind of nodding or smiling. And he would he would then take his bow, and I guess does he just hold the offering up then at that point?
Yeah. You will take your bow and hold up the offering. The bird seems to have accepted the bow of show of respect, so it will approach you. It will move its large head, and you can see with its beak, it will actually grab onto the wreath and actually start to swallow it whole and gulps it down. And as soon as it gulps it down, it bows its head and brings its body closer to the ground as your mother says, "It's letting you get on its back now. I will help you." And she will help. Go ahead.
I would say he takes her help, and I think he's amused by the eating of the wreath. He finds that kind of funny. And it helps set him at ease a little bit as he lets his mom help him onto the bird.
She will help you up onto the bird, and the bird, it's very comfortable on its back. You might feel a little bit nervous, but you are told by your mother that the beasts can sense your nervousness, so it's best for you to try to keep yourself calm, because if you are calm, then the beast is also calm. And it will very slowly rise up, and your mom will give you a kiss on your cheek, and she will say, "Have a good first day, Albikun. I'll be here waiting for you with supper."
Promise?
"I promise," she says.
What is there to hold on to for him at this point? Is there like a harness? Is it just part of the bird?
Yeah, there's going to be harness. I'm going to say that they have harnesses that you can hold on to. And they, for the 7-year-olds in particular, there is like some sort of belt, like seatbelt like system, which your mother would have already strapped you onto just for extra safety. So.
Okay. So I think since it's just a harness, he's squeezing it as tightly as he can because he knows the bird can't feel that. And he leans down and whispers, "I'm not afraid."
"I know you're not. Be brave, my boy. Make many friends." And with that, the bird leaps up. Now, to your surprise, it's really fast. It's almost like if you're on a roller coaster that starts stationary and then just goes really, really quickly all at once. And for a moment, it's like very, very like, oh my gosh. But again, just like if you're on a roller coaster, you start to get used to it, and it actually feels, this actually feels pretty cool as you're lifted up from the ground, and you can see your mom wave at you. And actually, there are several other parents who are also waving to their children as well. You see other children that are being launched up in the air, and this set of storm, these birds fly off together in some sort of like a flock formation. And the air is crisp, and the view down to the rest of Japan is breathtaking. While you're flying, and again, this is a relatively comfortable ride, you can hear a voice of another 7-year-old child squealing excitedly, going, "Woo! Woo!" This little 7-year-old boy, Japanese boy, is like flailing his arms around. He's like, "Look, we're flying!" And right in front of him is a girl. And they look very, very similar to each other. They look like they're brother and sister, and they look to be exact same age as each other. And you're able to overhear the girl saying to the boy, "Nico-kun, calm down. You're going to make it too excited. Calm down." And he says, "I can't calm down, Asa-chan. This is amazing," the little boy says. Do you do anything? Do you say anything? You're actually relatively close to these two siblings.
So I imagine Albion would have had his eyes closed for most of this, and then I think that boy's voice is maybe what caused him to kind of like open one eye and like start to realize this isn't quite as bad as he maybe was anticipating, and it's fairly safe feeling at this point. So I think he would just kind of laugh to himself as he sees the two of them. And I imagine at this point the birds have kind of started flying, in a flock together, kind of like geese fly together. So he might say something to them, like he might call out and just say, I think he assumes they're on their way there too, so he might say, what's your name or something simple.
The two notice you for the first time and turns around and says, My name is Nico, and this is my little sister. He said, this is my little sister, Asa. Only little by like 15 minutes, Asa says. For people's reference, think this character but 7 years old for Nico. And for the girl, same thing. Think this character but 7 years old.
So Albion would, say, it's nice to meet you guys. My name's Al.
Al-kun, Asa says. Pleased to meet you, Al-kun. She says, are you excited for your first day at Mahouka Toro?
He says, yeah, I was a little worried about these birds, but it's not quite as bad as I thought.
You can speak fluent Japanese, I'm assuming, right? I'm assuming you can? Yeah. All right, so they're all speaking like in Japanese. And they'll say, have you lived in Japan your whole life? Asa asks.
Says, well, kind of, he says. I've been back and forth between Japan and London because my dad works for the ministry. So we go back and forth, but they decided that since it was time to start school, I'd start living in Japan more than I do in London.
Nico eyes go wide. Wow, you're from London? Why aren't you going to Hogwarts? And Asa says, Nico-kun, don't be rude.
I think Al would kind of shrug and he would say, well, I guess my parents just wanted me to start school earlier. He says, if I were to go to Hogwarts, I would have to wait a few more years. He said, but I think that I'm kind of excited to learn more about plants.
Plants? Nico says, you want to learn about plants? Nico-kun, don't be rude, Asa says.
He says, what's wrong with that? There's lots of things plants can help us with.
Oh, you mean like potions? Nico says.
Yeah, that's just one of the things they can help us with. But yeah, I mean, what do you want to learn when you get to school?
I want to learn how to fly, Nico says. I want to be the bestest, fastest Quidditch player in the team.
Wow, I mean, have you ever played before?
A little bit. Not the real thing, but I know I've been practicing with my dad on my broom a little bit.
I've never ridden a broom before.
Oh, really? Well, maybe I can teach you, Nico says.
Maybe.
Asa-chan says, Albi-kun, have you thought about what house you want to be in? If you like plants, I don't know, maybe you might want to go into the Sunashi.
He said, yeah, my mom told me all about them, and I think that's definitely where I'm going to fit in best. What about you?
Asa-chan says, I don't know, it's hard to decide. They all sound really good. And Nico says, House UK all the way. House UK. That's where I want to be.
He would say, well, I guess any of them would be great, but I just think it's cool that we get to study what we want to study. If I were to go to Hogwarts, I'd probably have to, split what I study into all the different subjects. And at least here at Mahouka Toro, I can really focus on what I like.
Really? Nico says, they don't let you pick? That's dumb.
Well, I mean, I think you can pick some, but I think that you don't have as much freedom as they let you have at Mahouka Toro.
Well, never mind. Maybe I don't want to go to Hogwarts then anyway, Nico says.
I would say, well, plus, that'd be more years you have to wait to play Quidditch.
That's true. We're gonna say that the kids start to chat, and you get to... obviously, you find out that these two are twins. Mm-hmm. And Nico Takahashi, I think? Yes, mm-hmm. Nico Takahashi and Asa Takahashi are their names. But anyway, you will see that... you will see Mahouka Toro emerge before you in the distance. It's a triangular-shaped palace made of white jade. And as you arrive, the birds drop you off. And again, dozens and dozens of students are milling about, all being dropped off by these birds of all years, basically. And several of the professors are very quick to help each of the students off of the birds, and will start ushering them into their main hall as well. And once you get to the main hall, the headmaster of Mahouka Toro will also emerge. Headmaster Kaitsu Hoshizaki. Headmaster Kaitsu Hoshizaki will say, "Welcome, students of Mahouka Toro, one of the most prestigious schools in all the world. Here in Mahouka Toro, there are 3 houses. We believe in the stability of the number 3. And just like the other schools, the heads of the houses, the professors, will go and speak a little bit about their house. Tomo, the house of the mind, a focus on wandless magic, such as divination, ancient runes, arithmancy, numerology, occlumency, legilimency. The symbol we cherish is the lotus flower." The next professor will say, "Yuke, house of the body." And as this is being said, Nico is sort of like gonna elbow you, Al. You and him have gotten really close. Asa's a little bit quieter. She seems a little shyer, but she's definitely not shy when she's trying to like scold her brother about being rude or inappropriate. So, sort of like elbows you and says, "Yeah, that's what I was talking about. UK. Maybe you and I will end up in UK."
We'll see, I guess.
House of Body, the professor continues, a focus on practical or physical magic, charms, jinxes, hexes, transfiguration, defense against the dark arts. We hold the symbol of the flexible yet sturdy bamboo. And the very last professor that stands up looks like that. And the professor will say, "Sunashi, House of the Spirit, a focus on natural or scientific magic, herbology, potions, alchemy, magizoology, astronomy. Our symbol is the elegant and fragrant cherry blossom." After that, the headmaster will come back up again. "The history of the houses of Mahouka Toro is based on the Japanese word kokoro, which connects the mind, the body, and the spirit. While the school divides its houses based on these three aspects, it is the Japanese belief that the three are connected and indivisible from one another. The founding instructors of Mahouka Toro believed that one can reach their true potential by first embracing their strengths, but ultimately realizing that it is our whole self that we must embrace. Despite our strength, while we must not rely on our strengths alone, we must still hone and perfect them, which is why they created a house system that allows students to embrace their inner strength, but encourages them to branch out to allow our growth as a whole person in body, mind, and spirit. Our school motto and philosophy is Bunkatsu Shitagasu, which means divided but together. And now, first years, to determine which house to be placed, all of the first years I asked to come forward to take their examinations. Wait, a test? We have to take a test? And Asa said, Nico-kun, I told you that yesterday. You weren't listening. Oh.
He would probably say, don't worry. I'm sure you'll get all the questions about Quidditch, right?
Oh man, if they ask questions about Quidditch, I will totally get all those right, he'll say. We'll end the scene there. Roksana, you're the last one in this wave.
Yeah,
Are you ready, Roxy?
I'm so ready. Let's
Roksana, you are... So again, your family is very well off. So if you remember from the Harry Potter books, book 4 or movie 4, Battens traveled with a horse and carriage pulled by winged horses. So you guys have a large carriage that are pulled by a herd of winged horses. This is considered public transportation, but you guys have your own like private coach that your family normally travels in. Now, your brother and sister, Natasha and Alexander, they're in their own like private, because, you know, you underclassmen people can just sit over there instead.
Yeah.
But I am going to say that you are currently riding with one of your childhood friends. This is Tobias.
Yes!
Yes.
Tobias, finally!
I've been so excited for him.
Tobias Petrov is the name. And that's Tobias Petrov. He's a very adorable person right now. And this is your first year at school. Now, Tobias, I have to explain, he is currently wearing a yarmulke on his head. He is Jewish. And he's... Growing up as a kid was a bit of a struggle for him because he does have a stutter as well. And so you guys are like by the he's by the window seat and he's looking out and he says, wow, there's so much water out there. He's looking out as like you're right now like crossing the sea at the moment.
You have problem with water?
No, it's just I haven't traveled this far before. It's cool. Yeah, cool.
So, like, is this the first time I'm meeting him, or do I know him beforehand?
No, you've known him. I don't know for how many years, but
For a while.
You've known him for a while. He's had a pretty rough life. His family as many families, were victims of the Holocaust. And we're going to get into what the Holocaust was like with the wizarding world, but I'm gonna save that for another session.
Yeah.
So, but something that I think would be really interesting to explore.
Yeah.
So anyway, he will say, so Roxy, what are you looking forward to the most with the first day?
This is very good question, Throg. I was keen to see where I will end up. For the first time in my life, I don't know what to expect. She's being quite earnest. Like she feels like she can be quite placid around Toby. So yeah, she's being very genuine and relaxed right now.
You didn't tell me about what happened after your mom found the slugs in her pillow. What happened?
I got grounded, but a bit more severely than usual. I wasn't allowed to go outside for a very long time, but I still managed to find some fun. As it turns out, the servants' courtyard is right below my window. So I was playing Russian roulette with my spit.
Russian roulette?
Yes, not with gun, with spit. I spat on the servants.
Oh. Did they find out, or did they think it was leaking somewhere?
It was very funny. They thought it was the pipes. He had my dad looking up and down.
Oh, Roxy, I wish I was as creative as you. That sounds really funny.
Well, I wouldn't say it is creative as much as I was bored out of my mind. Toby kind of missed you, so glad to see you.
Yeah. I've been at camp all summer, and I've been working a lot with my speech therapist. I'm getting better. No? Better.
Yes, I noticed. You're doing very well.
I just want people to think I'm cool. Do you think people think I'm cool?
Toby, you are cool as ice.
That's pretty cool.
Oh yes. All we need to do now is get you a beanie. Maybe some sick shades.
Yeah. Cool people, they wear shades.
Yes, or
Yes.
so I've been told. Have you thought about what court you'll be put in?
I don't know. I don't really care all that much, honestly. Where do you want to go?
Port of the Sea. Otherwise, I have to listen to Natasha more. She's up top in the towers. So.
I just want to be accepted anywhere, really. I just want to feel important. What's a good house to feel important?
She sort of frowns at that. And she thinks for a long while. And she just says, look, I'm going to be very honest with you right now. And probably a bit more serious than I usually am. But Toby, you need to realize something very important. And houses don't make people. They don't dictate how you should live your life. You need to make your own person. And
what's the point in houses then? I thought that that's why we have them. So you go with what you're good at.
Yeah, of course. The houses help. I'm sure of that, but you're more than just a name and a label. You understand?
Yeah, I understand. Then, I don't know, labels can be easier sometimes.
At this point, would I kind of know that Tobias is a bit of a rune whiz?
Yeah. He's definitely a bit of a rune nerd. It's definitely something that it's sort of like a niche interest. Most people are like, I wanted to be in herbology or transfiguration. Most students are like, oh yeah, runes. Most of them are not.
Yeah.
But he definitely has a passion for it. Yes.
I suppose it would be simpler for you. You're a bit of a book nerd. No offense, I just don't do words.
Do you think that they have a rune club in Goldolfstorets?
I'm sure there is one, but I can't guarantee it'll be very big.
You can imagine that a rune club, not at all dissing this club at all, but you're gathering that the rune club is what at least many Americans would consider the equivalent to the chess club.
Yeah.
Certain people go to the chess club. So, and that has its own like stereotypical connotations, but yeah, so.
You know, Tobias, clubs are all well and good, but you know what? I'm thinking this year we will get up to some mischief. Clubs have to wait. We have to have some fun.
I want to have fun. That'd be great. And can we make a promise that no matter what court or house we get into, we'll still be friends and hang out.
Of course, Throg. I wouldn't care if they put you in the janitor's closet. Although I don't think they'll do that somehow.
He'll chuckle a bit. Okay, good. I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Oh, careful, you might vet yourself. That was joke.
No. That won't be good. That's cool. Cool people don't do that.
Of course.
Cool people don't do that.
Stone cold.